everybody. Welcome to Amazing You podcast and YouTube channels. The channels where stories of resilience, triumph, and unwavering hope come to life. And in each episode, we dive into the inspiring journey of individuals who have faced the toughest challenges heads on and emerge victorious. Our aim is to be a beacon of inspiration, offering a guiding light to those navigating through difficult times. And whether you are dealing with health challenges, professional setbacks, or personal struggles, this channel is dedicated to uplifting your spirit and showing you that even in the darkest moments, there is a path to hope and triumph. So join us as we share powerful stories that transcend adversity, reminding you that resilience is a force within us all. So be prepared, everybody, to be inspired and find the strength to navigate life's challenges. I am your host. My name is Dr. Rani Thanacoody. I am a clinical hypnotherapist using rapid transformational therapy method, a Mars Venus life and relationship coach, breathwork coach, astrologer, tarot reader, past life regression practitioner, life force compassion practitioner, and chakra practitioner. And today, I have the great pleasure to invite you to a very special and wonderful guest. And her name is Saroni Kundu. Saroni is a mental health advocate. She's passionate about improving the mental health care landscape and breaking the stigma around mental health. As someone who went through a personal tragedy with a close family member and caring for loved ones who needed mental health care, she has witnessed the impact of a broken mental health care system. So very warm welcome, Saroni, to Amazing You.
Thank you so much, Rani. It's such a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you so much for taking your time, your precious time, to be talking to me and to the audience. I'm very grateful for that.
Absolutely, my honor.
And my first question to you, I know you've got a lot of experience, and I would like you to share with us a bit about your personal journey and what inspired you to transition from a career in IT and to focus on mental health care.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to share that with your audience. My profession, I was in IT. In a way, I still am because everything has technology included in it.
Okay.
But yeah, I do have a background in computer science. So 20 years or so, I've been in the IT industry in many types of roles. Recently, the role that I'm most passionate about in the IT sector is experience design and strategy, where those who are not familiar, what we do is research and design how humans experience technology. So sort of that interface. So I do a lot of that work. Due to very personal tragedy, I sort of dived into mental health advocacy, and I've just been doing a lot of things around that, including speaking in podcasts like yours, Rani, to really spread awareness on mental health. And to break the stigma around mental health, as many communities still have a stigma and a taboo around that topic. So it has become my life's mission to do that.
That is fabulous. Thank you so much. And would it be possible for you to share with the audience a bit more about that personal tragedy that you experienced with loved ones struggling with mental health? Please.
Yes, absolutely. Well, so I can start by saying that mental health struggles were in my family since my sister, my beloved sister, she struggled from a very young age but we really didn't know, you know, we didn't have enough knowledge about it. And my parents, of course, didn't have much knowledge about it either. She did do some therapy, and I think she was, you know, doing therapy for about 15 years, but she got diagnosed with something that was not the right type of diagnosis. She was diagnosed with depression, so she was taking depression medication. Um, what happened was during the pandemic, as a lot of people with mental health issues and mental illness have suffered during the pandemic, so did my sister. And coming out of the pandemic, she did attempt suicide for the first time.
Wow.
So, although she had suicidal thoughts for many, many, many years, it was sort of in the background. But when the pandemic happened, it switched to suicide ideation. And she attempted suicide, um, uh, and then she survived, uh, which was kind of a miracle because uh, even doctors were surprised that she survived. So she did survive, and in a way, that was a blessing because she got the correct diagnosis at the hospital at that time,
Okay.
where she was seen by a psychiatrist for the very first time in her life.
Right.
And she was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder and major depressive disorder. So that diagnosis sort of lifted a huge weight off her shoulders and of us as her family, just because we got to connect a lot of dots and understand a lot of things that happened over the years. But yeah, with that, she survived, and at the same time, my son was suffering. He got diagnosed with depression. A few months later, my daughter with anxiety. So
Okay.
it's a lot of things in the family that were happening at the same time.
Yeah.
Honestly, she, I would say, saved my children because of all the knowledge that she was able to give me and give us, and to help our children. So our children got help, and
Okay.
now they're doing much much better.
That's
Uh,
great.
un- Unfortunately, she could not find it in herself to continue her
Oh,
life the way she knew it, with the psychological pain that she was going through daily.
yeah.
So 2022, December 17th, she attempted suicide for the second time, and she passed away.
Wow.
So since then, it has been a journey for me and for all my family to come out of it, and how to change that grief into a larger purpose.
Thank you so much for sharing, and I'm sorry for the loss of your sister.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
that must be a big loss for the family, to lose a
Yes.
sister, and nobody want to lose a family member. It's always really a very traumatic experience
Yeah.
for the whole family. And would you say was the biggest takeaway that you got from that experience of your son suffering from mental illness and your children, your sister? What was the biggest takeaway for you, Saroni, on those experiences?
The, the biggest takeaway, which is also the reason I advocate for mental health, is that early intervention, early diagnosis, and early treatment definitely 99.9% would save lives. Had my sister gotten the correct diagnosis at a much younger age, because the symptoms were there, or early
Yes.
teens, 12, 13, preteen teens.
Yeah.
If she had been diagnosed correctly, if we had the knowledge that this is not, oh, that's just how she is, it's actually something that needs to be looked at. Um, Compare that to my children who had symptoms that they were showing, and we immediately got them help. So they had early intervention, early diagnosis, early treatment in their pre-teens and preteens. And so because their brains are still forming, they're able to respond to the treatment, whether that be medication
Okay.
plus therapy or just therapy, whatever it is. There
Yeah.
are many types of therapies, so it's
Yes.
not just therapy,
Yes.
as you know, of course, Rani. So, in my life, I have seen both spectrums: how early intervention, sharing knowledge, breaking the taboo can save lives, as opposed to keeping it quiet, keeping it to yourself, not getting the right diagnosis. There's so much involved in, even if you do go to therapy, what do you look out for? What are the signs you look out for?
Mm.
And then, of course, the system itself is not where it needs to be. I don't know, whichever country.
Yes.
But just being from North America, I know that the mental health care system is absolutely not where it needs to be. you know, in order to save lives.
Yes, that's so true. Because when you talk about the taboo, mental health stigma is very much deeply ingrained in many communities. Not only in the
Yes.
United States, from in Asian countries, all around the world, even in African countries, because there were no mental health illnesses long, long time ago, because we were living in tribe, in communities, but
Mm-hmm.
nowadays we are living more individualistic life, and that's the reason
Mm-hmm.
for more and more mental health issues. But not every community understand that this is an issue that needs to be looked into more deeply and needs to be addressed. And there's nothing wrong with this, suffering from anxiety and depression. But
Yes.
just we need to be there to support the people around us. What do you think, according to you, what are some of the common misconceptions or barriers that you think need to be addressed first, Saroni?
Where do I start? I think it's the knowledge of, there is mental illness and
Mm-hmm.
then there's mental health issues. They are different in the sense that a mental illness could come from a myriad of different reasons. Psychological trauma, it could come from experiences in your childhood, it could have come from generational trauma. That's also
Yes.
a thing. Generational trauma, in hereditary, mental illness, which I think is the case in our
Yes.
family. If you think about it, like, my parents were from the era of, independence in India, World War II before that,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like they've been in survival mode
Yeah.
since childhood, right?
Yes.
And so my sister and I, she would talk about this a lot. Like, think
Mhm.
about all the trauma that they go through, and they've just accepted it,
Yeah.
and it's been survival mode, survival mode. How do I get into, from poverty to middle class? That was all they were thinking about. So anything that they suffered was sort of put aside. So
Yeah.
with my mother, she always had anxiety, right? But we just didn't know it was anxiety. But now that we know the symptoms, we're like, oh my goodness, absolutely, you had general anxiety disorder from childhood.
Yeah.
From childhood. So there's that, right? The mental illness, and then there's the mental health issues. So having that knowledge, I think, is extremely important for a parent, a friend, a coworker, just to understand what's involved in it. And the second thing is, if you do go for therapy, um, and you are telling yourself that things are still the same, I don't see any change, because my sister used to say that it's the same, that's a red flag. That means you don't just keep going to the same therapist. because you're probably not getting the right treatment.
That's
You're
true.
probably not diagnosed correctly. So understanding that mental health and mental illness is like any other physiological illness. Like if you have a tumor, in your pancreas and you're treating something else like in your digestive system, that's not going to work, right? It's the same thing. So if you're not diagnosed correctly and you're not going for the right therapy, it's most likely not going to work. But you can't just sit on it. And I have learned the hard way that you have to go for a full psychological evaluation, find a psychiatrist, really understand, and family intervention is important too,
Yeah.
right? Getting the family involved, or the friends or whatever, to really understand what's going on. And I think a lot of systems don't do that today. So you as an individual have to advocate for yourself, to be honest. I could for my children because they're minors, right? And so we did whatever, all the steps, to get them the right diagnosis and treatment. So I think those are the really important things to understand in the mental health area.
Thank you. That's very valuable, Saroni. And what would you tell people today? Many, many people are suffering from a kind of mental health issue or suffering from anxiety, depression, can be bipolar listening to us. What would
Yes,
you like
yes,
to tell them in that moment?
yeah. I like I said, if you are getting therapy or medication and it's not working for you, you do have to go in for a second opinion, a second evaluation. It is important that you advocate for yourself, just like you would if you had a liver disease or a heart disease, whatever it is, a physical problem. You need to understand that this is a clinical problem and that you do need to find a solution and diagnosis, and there's nothing wrong with you. It's just that there is something going on in the brain. Brain is an organ just like any other organ, right? So breaking that taboo to say people will think I'm crazy,
Mm,
people think, will they take me to a hospital? It's not about that at all. It's about, and the earlier you go, the better, right? You can get treated earlier. So that's what I would say to those who are watching who have already been going for therapy or seeing a psychiatrist. And those that are not, those that are suffering silently, I would say that you do need to speak out. And I know it takes a lot of courage, but you will be amazed at how many people will come to you and say, "Oh my God, I am suffering in the same way." And when I opened up about suicide and suicide prevention, it's unbelievable how many people have reached out to me that have been affected in some way by suicide or themselves having suicidal thoughts. So it's not something that you need to sort of live with and ignore. It is something that can be looked into, and you can have therapy that teaches you the skills to cope with that, to manage those types of thoughts and things like that. So I encourage you to speak out. I encourage you to seek help. And I encourage you to be brave, because it's not anything to be ashamed of.
that is so true. Thank you, Saroni. Yes, because we tend to suffer in silence or have the fear of what will others say about us.
Mm-hmm.
But we need to be brave and to put ourselves out there because it's our life and our body is just asking for attention to get helped.
Yes.
So we
Yes.
need to look after ourselves and, yeah, and go and get the help that you need. Go see the people that you need, the specialists, get the help, talk to the
Mhm.
people who will support you on that journey, because not
Correct.
everybody understands if somebody suffers from anxiety. Find the people around you. There is one person who will
There is
understand.
absolutely
Yes,
100%.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I know you are involved about your involvement with the Ellie Mental Health. So
Yeah.
can you please share with us a bit more about that approach, how it's aligned with your values, Saroni, with your vision for transforming the mental health care system?
Yes, for sure. The biggest problems in North America around mental health is that we have a dire shortage of mental health care, outpatient mental health care. There might be mental health care in big hospitals and things like that, but really a small practice environment where you are feeling comfortable and you're really having a good relationship with your therapist, and that sort of access that yes, I do have insurance and I don't have to pay out of pocket. And these are all North American more USA type of problems.
Yes.
I know Canada has more universal healthcare and things like that, including UK. Whatever it is, whatever the system is, I don't think there's enough services and out there. My sister herself, when she found out her diagnosis, her type of therapy she needed in a group therapy environment was 1 year waiting line, right? Waiting list. So this is how dire need there is for therapists, for mental health care, institutions or small practices that are in your communities, in your neighborhoods. And that's what Ellie is about. Is they have a franchise system. They were founded in Minnesota. They grew that many practices in Minnesota, and then they decided to franchise it across the nation.
Okay.
Fastest growing franchise system because there is a need in every community,
Yeah.
and there are people that are passionate about it, like myself, not from clinical backgrounds, but
Yes.
just are very passionate about
Mm.
making mental health care accessible,
Yeah.
in our communities, in our individual communities. So that was so aligned to my purpose at the time. Is breaking the stigma around it too is a huge part of Ellie. If you look at the Ellie brand, the ads, it's very fun, it's very creative humor. It's not, oh my god, like how the usual it's not like mental health means you're like in an
Mm.
institution or something.
Yes. Yes.
It's very fun, it's very, you can have a good vibe with your therapist. You can really work on your mental health issues in a fun, creative way. And so that's sort of the mission for Ellie, which was exactly what I wanted, and I want to be part of this system so that we can change the healthcare system. It takes time. Obviously, it's a lofty goal, but we have to start somewhere. So now, being a owner of a franchise myself, I also get to use all my skills, whether they be customer experience or project management, whatever that I've gained in through these 20 years. I use that for my own franchise as well. So I'm able to not only help my clinicians and them help their clients, right? But I'm also growing my own business at the same time. The other thing I'll say is, because there's a shortage of services, clinician experience really suffers because they get overworked and there's clinician burnout, right? So part of my mission is clinician experience and patient or client experience have to be top of mind. Once you take care of your clinicians, your clients will be taken care of, and everything will take care of itself. And that's really my mission, aligned with Ellie's mission.
Thank you so much, Saroni, because what you said is so true. That clinicians, healthcare professionals, they don't often have the time because of the demand of the job to look after themselves, of their own mental state, of their own well-being. So I think you
Yes.
are doing a great job
Mhm.
emphasizing that they need to look after themselves so they can look after others too. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And helping them to have flexibility in their schedules and how they want to. see clients, how often, and so on, and having health programs and benefits for them, for clinicians, so that they can perform at their best.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you so much. And my other question to you, Saroni, it's more personal, this one.
That's okay.
How do you take care of your own mental health, given the connection, your personal connection, and the emotional weight of the work that you do in this space?
That's a very good question. I would say I have gone through a transformation. Of course, as I grieved from the loss of my sister,
Mm,
I went through a very hard time. For about a year or so, I was seeking something spiritually to help me through, to sort of overcome and channel that grief somewhere. So while I had my mission with Ellie Mental Health and so on, I really needed to take care of my own mental health and physical
yes.
health. So as they say, when you seek, you do receive, and so I came across a Buddhist practice called Nichiren Buddhism, and so I have been practicing since last December, and it has helped me tremendously to keep focus
Okay.
and to really channel my grief into doing something for not just lifting my life's condition, but all around me, the people around me, to help lift their life condition. And that's become a way of me to channel my grief, to keep my sister's legacy alive, and to really help people around me as I'm equally helping myself. So that's really been my go-to is chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo twice a day,
Okay.
and just um, really staying focused on my life condition and what I want for myself and people around me, and having that out in the universe. It's not like Buddhism. You're not praying to any
Yes.
external. It's all inside you. So
Mm.
that's what I needed.
I think that's beautiful what you just shared to us, because having a daily practice for ourselves is
Yes,
so important, you know.
it is very important. Yeah.
Yeah, for the
And just to
audience.
just to add to that for your audience, I did also go for therapy. So from the moment that my sister attempted suicide for the first time and my son was diagnosed, I immediately found a therapist because I said, I know I'm going to need support to go through
Yeah,
this
yeah.
entire thing. So I was going for therapy for at least a year and a half. And I started to feel better about things, I knew that, okay, now I need something spiritually and taking care of my physical health as a daily practice now, so
Yes.
that I can keep going, for the rest of my life.
Yes. And that's so important to first fill our cup, you know,
Yes.
with the love and healing, and so that we have enough, the cup overflows, and then we can share with the people around us. You are
Yes,
more than
absolutely.
ready, you are more open. So I think the audience, if anybody doesn't have a routine, a self-care practice, so look into finding one that you can do every day for the rest of your life. It's not something that you do one day and you stop. You won't get the
Right.
benefits. You have to have consistency in what you do.
Yes.
Yeah,
Consistency is very, very important. Yeah.
absolutely. Yes. Thank you for emphasizing that too, because you practice it. So you are a
Yes.
very good example to
Yes.
for the audience to learn from. And
Yeah.
my
And
yes, Saroni, sorry.
oh, just one about consistency. Notice we're not saying constant, but we're saying consistent. There are some days when you're just going to feel like you just don't want to do anything,
Yes,
but those are extremely important days, because that's the day that you have to do that one thing that'll help to lift you up. Even if it's really hard, you just have to do it. Take a deep breath and do that one thing because it
that's
will help you.
that's really true, because it's one step, one small step at a time.
Yes, at a time. Yes.
Yeah. We don't need to jump the hurdles.
Yeah.
Like babies, they start slowly by walking, taking one foot forward, and that's what we have to do as well for our own self-care. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And Saroni, I know you have been reading a lot and learning so many great things. I'm sure you have encountered many impactful books in your life. And could you highlight a few that have profoundly influenced you and briefly explain to us why?
Yes, there's been so many books throughout my life, but I wanted to share some recent books because as I was going through my grief process and really finding my path again, The Wisdom for Creating Happiness and Peace by Daisaku Ikeda was very pivotal for me. Um, a lot of his books are amazing when they really teach you about what it is that will create happiness and peace. And number one thing really is that it's all within you. It's not external to you. So unless you really find yourself and your inner desires, uh, that happiness will not come from anyone else or anybody else. So that was very, very pivotal for me. And I still read it. And then very recently,
Yes.
um, came across an author, Paul Ozenkup, who wrote The Humor Habit. So you know how we talked about habit, like everything is a habit. You have to do
Yes.
it daily, consistently. It becomes a habit, whether you go for your daily walks or you
Yeah.
pray or meditate or whatever it is that you do or exercise to keep your mental state in a peaceful way. The humor habit is very interesting.
Mm.
uh, it really talks about, there's a step by step on how to make humor an actual habit. So if you come across a situation, it's not like you just laugh about it and be like, no, some things are very serious, but how do you change your thinking in such a way that you are able to turn it around into something that's positive, that you can do and add a little bit of humor in it. So I found that this, I'm still reading it, but I just wanted to share this because the first of all, the author is extremely funny, but but also the book was written in a very fun and humorous way, and I think everyone needs a little bit of humor in their lives. And I think we all suffer from something he called chronic seriousness. So
Yes. Yeah.
you you want to address that, a little bit of humor in your lives, everybody.
Yes, because when we are in distress, we don't want to laugh, when we live in a state of survival. But in introducing that habit and
Yes.
and finding humor in things, in
Yeah.
small things in life, is very
Yes.
important because they say laughter is the best medicine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you for sharing those two wonderful books, Saroni, that you
You're
are
welcome.
reading, and I think that's very inspiring that you've shared that.
Thank
And
you.
can you tell us what are your other projects and initiatives that you are currently working on? And how can people get in touch with you?
Oh, absolutely. You can get in touch with me through LinkedIn. Just look for my name, Saroni Kundu. Um, I'm working on a number of things.
That's
Of
great.
course, all in priority order. But of course, my Ellie franchise is number one. Trying to make sure my clinic is running, well with my clinicians and my clinic director, and and then working with Ellie corporate to change the system in any way possible. So all that is my daily work. um, I'm also pursuing a consulting kind of career with my experience in IT. So I have that going on, and then I also I am a dancer. I do Indian classical dancing. So I'm using my skills and talent as a dancer to spread awareness on mental health. So I do have many platforms, social media platforms where I am, I would present a dance and talk about different mental health issues. So, and it's kind of different. It's just another way of communicating. People do seem to love, performing arts. So I thought, why not mix the two? So that's another thing I'm doing. And then, yeah, any public speaking events that I can go and talk to people like yourself and your audience and spread the knowledge and spread awareness. That's really, yeah, those are all the different projects I'm working on.
I'm super excited for you, and I wish you a lot of success, Saroni, in
Thank
your
you.
future endeavors. I think we need you. We need you to help and inspire the community. So keep doing the great work, keep shining, because dancing is another great way through creative arts to express
Yes,
our emotions. So that is beautiful
absolutely.
that you've got that gift and you can share that to the world. So keep doing what you are doing, and I think it's been wonderful talking to you. And any final thoughts or message that you would like today to share with our audience?
Yes, my message to all of you is life can get tough sometimes, life can get overwhelming sometimes. When you wake up in the morning, make it a habit to say something positive to yourself about yourself. You've gone through so much already, so you know you have it in you. Think positively about what you can do that day. How can you make that day yours instead of that day controlling you? How can you make that day your day where you do something that is that makes you feel good, So make a list if you have to, but yeah, focus on that day. Focus on what you want to do on that day, and don't think about all your goals and all your lofty to-do list. Okay, that's my message is, take one step at a time.
Thank you so much, Saroni, for sharing your precious time, your knowledge, your wisdom to us, to the audience, and to me. And I'm very grateful to have been connected with you through a friend of ours. So I am really, really appreciative of the great work that you do as well. And I wish you a lot of success in everything that you do.
Thank you so much, Rani. I really, really enjoyed the talk. Thank you.
You're welcome. And big thank you to the audience for having been here, for watching, sharing, and subscribing. So keep sharing. And we need you to share, to subscribe, and to get as many people to hear those beautiful, inspiring messages from the speakers. And we'll see you all soon for another interview. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.